Okay. It's Ping. It's Ping. Ping.
Ping.
Ping. Ping. Ping. Come on, let's tour the Ping facility. Welcome to the Ping headquarters. Okay. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. This is where your golf club starts. No, it's Ping Golf Club.
I just spent 48 hours at Ping, and we got to see how clubs are made, watched a robot hit a golf ball, and walked into a vault literally filled with gold. We're gonna see the inner workings of one of the largest golf companies in the world. Let's go to the warehouse where it all begins.
This is where the whole process starts.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
coming in from overseas to here.
Yeah, it's a long.
Look how long that goes down there. That's a lot of golf clubs.
So right next to this giant warehouse is the production line. This is where each club is built to order.
If you have a Ping Golf Club in the States here, probably came from here. I'm shocked how many stations there are. There are so many people building golf clubs.
We're in what we call the kitting area, so this is where an order is going to start. So every club we build or set of clubs we build has what we call a work order.
Okay.
We also call it the birth certificate, right?
Okay.
For that set of clubs. So this work order has all the specs of that particular set. This happens to be a set of 430 irons, 5 through 9 pitching wedge, and a 45 degree wedge. As you look around our facility, you don't just see a bunch of clubs pre-built, sitting on a rack ready to pull off and ship. If you look behind us, they would take that work order. You can see all the different boxes of irons here. They'll go to these boxes and then pull the iron heads, and then they'll put them onto these trays to begin the process of the building. So from this point on, this set of clubs stays together the entire time and never gets separated.
So it's not like you build a bunch of 9 irons and a bunch of 8 irons.
Exactly right. They're all in boxes until they have an order applied to them, and then they're together again. So the set to us is whatever you want it to be. You don't have to buy 7 irons at a time or 8 irons at a time.
Sure.
So now once they've gone through this process, they're going to come out here, and this is where they get the serial numbers put on them.
Oh.
So we know every spec that relates to that serial number. So if you were to break your 8 iron, you could go into your golf shop and say, hey pro, I broke my 8 iron. I want to match this serial number. We pull that up and go, oh yeah, those specs are such. We build a new club. You still have to pay for it, but it fits seamlessly into your set, so you've got a very consistent set. So we always encourage golfers to put that serial number somewhere safe in case like your whole set disappears, which the police like our serial numbers too.
There you go. Okay.
Once we leave kitting, they go onto these carts, so you can see how the trays are on a numbered rack. So this is tray 1, and then you look here, I call it a quiver, like an arrow. So the corresponding shafts from 1 here match 1 here. So when they get over into the cell, the operators pull this tray and these shafts and start that process. The other thing you'll notice, a lot of people touching the clubs, right? That's very important to the Solheim family. We only sort of automate for efficiency purposes, not to replace people, right?
Got it. Next up, they are installing the shaft into each golf club. And then from there, it's going into this kiln type situation that hardens that bond so that the clubs are cured faster and they're able to keep working on them quickly. So it's kind of this cool innovation that Pete told us that they invented these kilns, that they designed these and manufactured them for the specific process.
This digital loft and lie gauge, again, all designed in-house because it's a very complicated process for us to, track the clubs, but just as importantly, make sure we're able to build them precisely using the gauges there. Guide. He's going to put the face of the club up against that. There's a camera inside there. So the camera's reading the scoring lines and calculating what the current specs are. So that work order tag we talked about has been scanned in here, so the computer knows that this set needs to be whatever lie angle is called for. So that's why when he starts to bend the clubs, the computers tell him, okay, the loft needs to be 0.26 degrees weaker, the lie needs to be point. So he's going to make those adjustments. We've got the wrench to adjust the loft, the hammer's adjusting the lie. The irons are heat treated, so they're malleable. That's why we can bend them so far.
Yeah.
If we didn't heat treat them, they'd just snap right off, right? So,
Wow.
so you can see there, the computer said, all right, you got the loft right, you just need to be a little bit flatter.
Yep.
So he flattened it.
Wow.
If he doesn't get it right, he'll be there all day because the computer won't let him just shove that set down the line because he couldn't get it right.
Got it.
And these guys are really good at what they do, obviously, so they can go through a set fairly efficiently, very quickly. So. But
Man, I love the
never
accuracy.
Never at the expense of speed, right? We're not trying to just rush through this stuff.
Right.
So these 2 days at Ping, not only did we tour all of this crazy stuff, we did a few other things. We learned about wedges, which you could go watch over here. We learned about putters, and I wore these crazy goggles. And we learned about mud balls and how water affects ball flight. All super cool stuff that you'll want to make sure to check out. That was all in our 48 hours here at Ping, some of the things we did. Watch those. All right, after you've watched those, then come back here, something like that. I don't know about you, but I'm super impressed by watching that Lion Loft machine and just how dialed in each club is getting before it goes to the next step. It's super impressive. Next up, we gotta throw some grips on these clubs, so head down to the next production cell. We got grip tape, the whole normal process. And that's it. That is the production line in the Answer building at Ping HQ in Phoenix, Arizona. Pretty cool to walk in there and check it all out. Next up, after a short drive, we are going to the Proving Grounds. This is the giant range on the Ping campus there, and this is where all the fittings happen, and the testing, and the research, and we are headed to one specific room on the range. It is the Pingman room. All right, welcome down to the Pingman room here with Dr. Paul Wood. We're gonna talk drivers. We're gonna talk, should we hit a draw? Should we hit a fade? Should we hit it straight? How do we hit it the farthest? What are you guys trying to do to help us? That's the question.
That's it.
Let's hit a shot, establish a baseline, and then you kind of educate us about what we should be working on. Did you guys come up with all this?
Yes.
Pretty much dead straight, right?
That was good.
That's our baseline shot, is to hit one out of the center, dead straight, and then we start doing variations from there. And the question is, like, would Pingman be more consistent, or would you be more consistent if you always hit a draw, or you always hit a fade? And would you be, how much longer or shorter would you be, and what does that mean for your game?
Yep.
Yes.
But all you need, see that, he closed it a bit more, and that one's gone well left.
Yep.
So conclusion one is, so biomechanically, that was exactly the same swing.
Yeah.
And we went from hitting a dead straight ball to a big draw. All we have to do is just dial the wrist the other way, and now we're hitting a fade. So the biomechanics is identical.
Okay.
So then it really just comes down to like getting reasonably good launch and spin.
Yeah, let's hit this fade. So what do we,
All right, so we're set up 3.5 degrees open now.
3.5 degrees open, okay. One change. Let's see what happens. There's a fade.
There you go, hanging out to the right. Now in this case, because we started a little bit on the higher end of like launch and spin, as we open up that face, we're just opening up more loft.
Yep.
See, that's 15 degrees and over 3,000 spin. Like, we're giving up a little there.
Yep. Draws or fades and being biomechanically simple. Why is that interesting or important to us?
And if we're trying to answer the question, like, is it just better to always hit something, always hit a draw, always hit a fade? The question for the biomechanics expert is there any reason why that would be true? That like, it's just, for you as a human, the way your body's configured, it's just easier to hit good shots with curve to them.
Yep.
And this experiment with the Pingman, but it just kind of shows there's no difference in the swing to hit a draw and a fade. You can make the same swing, and all you do is just move that club in your hands, and you've gone from draw fade. So if there was a biomechanics advantage, you could hit a draw and a fade with whatever that biomechanics advantage is. So there is no inherent reason why it's better.
The second question that we're tackling is, I would be more consistent if I didn't have a two-way miss by trying to hit it straight, right? Like, I don't want to hit it straight because I have a two-way miss.
That is purely psychological, right? And that is purely, if you get bothered by a ball that's going to the left and then a ball that's going to the right, the physics makes no difference. The physics doesn't care whether it had a little bit of curve left or right, or whether it was, the two-way miss for someone who always hits a draw is an overdraw or an underdraw, right? It's still, you're still missing left of the target and right of the target.
Right.
The two-way miss is up here.
Okay.
And so then if we go beyond that and we just look at the physics. Our studies show that the more you can get the ball going that way and the less going this way, you're going to maximize distance and you're not going to take a hit really in consistency within, something pretty close to straight.
Yeah.
We kind of go from Pingman to golfer psychology to the pure physics, which is the really exciting bit, of course.
Yeah. I guess as a golfer, like in the real, if you're saying like I hit it farther with a draw versus hit a straight, maybe you are not fit properly.
I was going to say, I would say the biggest determinant there is that for whatever reason, for the club you're hitting today, your draw swing with that club is getting better launch and spin numbers.
Right.
But we could get you into a different club where your straight ball has those similar launch and spin numbers.
All right, so the second thing when we talk about kind of like optimizing distance, we're going to hit it straight, is where should we hit it on the club face besides center?
Yeah.
Besides that answer, that's your job, right? That's what you guys work on with every driver, I assume, is like improving forgiveness.
Our job is to engineer as much forgiveness into the drivers so it minimizes the difference when you miss-hit it.
Yeah.
But obviously you're still going to miss-hit it. And so studying that's great, but we can also look at like where's that sweet spot on the face.
Okay.
Right? As a player, you kind of hit shots and you naturally gravitate to the ones that work best for you.
Yeah.
We can dial that in really quickly here, and so maybe we'll just show what it looks like to go a little up and down the face. And
Okay.
I don't know if we have. We probably have a rule.
That's not that bad.
See there, the launch angle went down another degree. The spin went up a little bit more. So you just keep the more we go down.
Man, we're not losing much distance at all, though.
Yep.
Like we're just losing.
All the drivers I've tested over all the years, this 440 has the most forgiving I've ever seen.
Okay.
So
You want to see Pingman hit a really bad one? We're half inch down. We could go half inch to the heel as well, right?
This is turning into a Ping advertisement for the driver. That's what we're making right now. Because we can't make it go shorter. I'm shocked.
half inch to the heel.
I could have sworn that if you went half inch low, that you're going to lose more than 5 yards.
I'm pushing Doug out of his comfort zone here.
That's not even that bad.
It's really not.
251. Okay, we finally lost about 10 yards.
There you go.
Where would that be? That contact was.
So there we
It
are.
was like on the lines over
So
there.
we're half inch down, so maybe down here, and then half inch to the heel.
So if you hit it right, like right there is what you're saying.
Yeah, actually,
right?
where this little line's coming down here,
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
Okay, so we finally figured out how to lose 10 yards.
There you go.
If we hit it there. Nice. Otherwise, I mean, geez.
Yeah. And that's a big part of how we define is this driver better, is when we start hitting all around the face, like how tight. We'll call that a stat area, basically a dispersion of when you go and look on the range where all the balls go.
Yeah.
Like how big a blanket do you draw over those balls? The tighter that is, the more forgiving the driver.
Got it. Where's the hottest spot? Is it right there that it's going to
So
go
it very
the
much
farthest?
depends on, so the hottest spot would be where's the ball speed highest. That's not necessarily where you get the maximum distance.
Okay.
So typically our ball speed highest is going to be center or a tiny bit low.
Which we saw.
Which we saw.
Yeah.
But then often the area where you get the most distance might be a little high of that, where you still get good ball speed, but you take advantage of a little bit higher launch, lower spin. But it depends on the player.
Okay.
Right, if you're a player who's naturally high spin, you might get more advantage being a little higher on the face just to bring the spin down. If your spin's already in a good spot, or if your spin's low, I know some players that are too low, then actually being a little low on the face might be better for you.
So there's a bit of driver strategy for you. Maybe you need to rethink some of those mindsets or approaches that you've taken into hitting your driver now that we learned that from Dr. Paul Wood. Being at Ping is really interesting. They have a bunch of history there because they've literally been on the same location in Phoenix, the same building where they founded the company so many years ago. It was pretty nuts. So really fun place to go. And as Pete says, come get a tour.
We give tours almost every day to
Yeah.
consumers in here.
Okay. So anyone can come get a tour, huh?
Yeah, you just sign up on our website.
We're not special. You know?
Not
I thought we were.
everybody can bring
we're
their
not.
camera.
Okay.
In a building just off the Proving Grounds range, they have the tour build area. So this is a small group of folks building the clubs that tour players, college players are all using. And alongside that, they have the custom putter manufacturing area where they're taking a raw piece of metal, milling it right there, and turning it into a putter.
This is the putter milling.
Okay.
Where all the custom PLDs and other stuff are done.
So you guys are starting here in this room with these, and then making the custom.
It starts as a square, actually.
Start like this.
Take a hold of that. That's tungsten what we add to putter. So if you had a block of gold, that would be equivalent to gold right there.
Got it. So you add this for weight on
for weight.
some of the ports on the outside. Got it. That's awesome. Yeah, that's heavy. All right, so they just opened up the putter vault for us. First reaction, here we go. That is crazy. Oh, this is pretty nuts. I've seen pictures before and videos, but in person, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Can I look at these? All right, okay. Okay, let's look at the majors. That's the...
Tiger's got a couple from his U.S. amateurs.
Where's that? Right here?
Down there.
Okay. So what are, these are solid gold, or what are these?
These are gold plated.
Gold plated.
Yeah. So every time a professional golfer, sometimes amateurs, win on a tour around the world with a Ping putter, we make 2 putters, one for the vault here.
Yeah.
And then we send the player the other one. So we engrave their name on it, the name of the tournament and the year that they won. So pretty cool part of the Ping heritage tradition. Started back in the early 70s.
Okay.
But actually goes retroactively back to the first Ping putter win, which was 1962.
So we're looking at 1969. That's pretty early?
So that's George Archer. That's the first major win.
The first major Ping win. Okay.
Masters.
That was with an answer. Crazy. Okay. And then what would be the most recent major?
Well, let's see. Hopefully we try to add them every weekend, right? So if we're winning every weekend, it's a good thing. So, but it takes a little while to get one in here. So Joaquin Neiman won a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
In Saudi, so that would be the
most recent.
Yeah.
So Lee Westwood, this is his, a couple rows of him here. Look at all the variety of putters. We got everything. We got mallets, we got blades, we've got bigger mallets, all the stuff. Look at that one. That was a great putter. Remember that? He won. Oh, that's the Ryder Cup 2004. That's awesome. What's he using these days? Oh, we got another mallet over here. How cool is that?
The tradition with the majors is if a player wins a major, they actually get a solid gold version of their putter. We just do a plated one for here. So you can imagine the size and weight of that putter, and the price of gold. So that was a
very
valuable.
It's like a double
They're all
win.
valuable with that one. And there's about 3,200 in there right now.
3,200 putters. Dang. That's awesome.
And that was 48 hours of Ping. What did I learn? Well, you wouldn't believe how huge this campus is. It's nuts. It was also really cool to see just the history of how long they've been there, how old the company is, some of the values that have maintained throughout all of the years of Ping. Really had a great time. Great group of people, great culture, great atmosphere. Huge thank you to everyone on the Ping team that had us out and hosted us. Really appreciate it.